I'm a lifetime WordPress user, but after the recent WordPress drama, I started to wonder how other open source alternatives would compare for anyone nervous about using WordPress. So I decided to try Ghost, an open source CMS focused on publishing. In this video, I'm comparing the ease of use, customization, security, and power features of each CMS to determine which one is best for you. WordPress is by far the most popular CMS of all time. Launched in 2003, WordPress currently powers over 43% of the internet, far more than any other CMS or website builder. Compare that to Ghost, which launched in 2013 and supposedly has a 0.1% market share. So why would you even consider using Ghost over WordPress? Well, I found quite a few good reasons. First, Ghost is built with Node.js, a newer runtime released in 2009. This may not mean anything to you if you aren't a developer planning on heavily modifying your website, but it is worth mentioning. WordPress uses PHP, a much older language which could be a pro or a con depending on your knowledge. But for CMS users who aren't developers, myself included, there's also the consideration that WordPress is complicated. It's powerful, but that power can quickly become overwhelming. So to see how the usability stacks up with each platform, let's walk through the initial setup process. The setup experience at WordPress.com is simple and intuitive. With the free, personal, and premium plans, you'll get access to a watered-down version of WordPress that doesn't allow you to install plugins and custom themes. Instead, you can pick from a limited list of themes, and while you won't be able to tap into the full power of WordPress, you may actually enjoy the simplified experience if you're just looking to blog. But for the rest of the video, I'm going to refer to the full version of WordPress. To get this through WordPress.com, you have to be on the business plan, but you don't have to use WordPress.com's all-in-one hosting product. I would strongly recommend getting web hosting elsewhere so you can utilize the full power of WordPress for less. DreamHost and Hostinger are my two favorite options when you're getting started. And if you're confused about how WordPress.com and WordPress.org compare, you're not alone. It's a bit complicated, and that's why I've made an entire comparison video on it. With that being said, getting started with WordPress varies slightly from host to host, but it's always a similar experience. Name your site, pick a theme, and pre-install some plugins. Ghost's setup process is not far off. Their hosted offering at ghost.org offers a 14-day free trial, and your card will not be automatically charged at the end of the trial. Just like WordPress, Ghost can be used through the official hosting on ghost.org, or you can choose to self-host it or purchase hosting through a third party. Since Ghost runs on Node.js, third-party hosting isn't as readily available as it is with WordPress, so I'd recommend sticking to Ghost's hosting for now unless you're tech-savvy. Ghost has a limited starter plan which is restricted to 18 official themes and a handful of built-in integrations. To access the full version of Ghost and utilize custom themes and integrations, you'll need the creator plan. The plans scale in cost based on the number of members your website has, and that's because Ghost has a built-in memberships feature to hide content behind a paywall and a newsletters feature. The pricing is competitive with MailChimp, Kit, and other email marketing platforms. But Ghost doesn't have the rich campaign features like automation workflows and subject line A/B testing. So if you're planning to use your newsletter for more than just emailing new posts to your subscribers, you may want to consider a dedicated email marketing platform. If you choose not to use either of these features, you can ignore the member-based pricing. But something you should never ignore is that subscribe button. It's free to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss when I release new videos. Moving on to themes and customization, both WordPress and Ghost offer official and third-party themes. The exact customizability and interface will vary based on the theme you choose. Ghost themes can add custom settings that will appear in the Ghost admin dashboard, and WordPress themes can do the same. So although your exact customization experience varies by theme on both platforms, it's generally straightforward to change fonts, colors, and logos. Now, taking a look at the blogging experience, both Ghost and WordPress have simple, intuitive editors that make writing a joy. The Ghost editor lets you easily format text, though there's no way to change the color for individual paragraphs without code injection. There are a variety of cards or elements to choose from, including images, buttons, callouts, toggles, and embeds. Though I feel the posts editor can be a bit limiting, it is easy to use, and I don't think the average user will have any trouble getting around. The WordPress editor, referred to as Gutenberg, is a similarly simple experience, though it's much more customizable. You're given additional formatting options for text like highlighting, strike-through, and superscript. You can also choose from a wide variety of blocks like images, buttons, grids, and columns. Though Gutenberg is more powerful than the Ghost editor, it's still an elegant writing experience. There's a distraction-free mode you can toggle to remove the sidebar. Both Ghost and WordPress use the same editors for building pages, so if you want to build an About page, Contact page, or any other page, it's the same exact experience as publishing a post. For Ghost, that means your options are pretty limited without code injection. If you're avoiding coding, there's no way to add columns or grids to your pages, or change the background image or color of sections or rows. This means that your pages are going to be quite simplistic. One quirk of Ghost is that you can't fully edit the homepage without editing HTML and CSS. In fact, there's not a home page listed under Pages. Ghost has chosen to let each theme more or less have a hard-coded homepage design, and while you can customize the page by modifying the template's code, Ghost encourages you to pick a theme with a homepage design that you're happy with out of the box. WordPress takes a much different approach. There's actually a home page visible under Pages, and Gutenberg is a fully functioning page builder. You can add sections, rows, and columns. Each section can have its own background color or image, and you can even add more blocks to Gutenberg with third-party plugins. For example, the Cadence theme that I like has a Cadence Blocks plugin that adds more elements. Additionally, WordPress has a massive ecosystem of plugins to supercharge your website. If you don't like Gutenberg, you can use a different page builder. Elementor, Beaver Builder, and Breakdance are just a few common options. Plugins can do just about anything you can imagine. Advanced Custom Fields allows you to add custom post types to WordPress. Lifter LMS turns your site into an online course platform, and WooCommerce turns your site into an e-commerce store. The possibilities are endless, but Ghost doesn't have plugins in the same way that WordPress does. They have a marketplace of integrations, but these are essentially just help articles showing you how to connect third-party tools with Ghost by embedding HTML. There are a handful of built-in integrations like Zapier, Slack, and Unsplash that add dynamic functionality, but for the most part, Ghost's integrations are just a form of code injection. So as you can see, Ghost is less advanced than WordPress. However, that comes with some tangible security advantages. WordPress is highly susceptible to security incidents. This is largely because of the market share. Since it powers 43% of the internet, it's an attractive target for bad actors. One of the easiest ways to compromise WordPress is to find a vulnerability in a third-party plugin you've installed. There are so many potential weak points, and WordPress security is decentralized, placing the responsibility to protect your site not only on WordPress core, but on every single WordPress plugin developer. Because of this, it's strongly advised to use a security plugin. Yes, another third-party tool to protect your site from security holes in other third-party tools. Security is much less of a concern with Ghost because there aren't that many true third-party integrations that add to the back-end functionality. In addition to this, Ghost has such a small market share that bad actors aren't incentivized to focus their efforts on breaching Ghost sites. So in the end, should you use WordPress or should you use Ghost? Ultimately, it comes down to what your goals are. Ghost is much more limited, but for a good reason. They're serving a specific audience. Ghost is a publishing platform that allows you to share content and build a business around that content. It's kind of like an open source Substack. For bloggers, creators, and publishers, Ghost could be a great platform to power your website. The built-in memberships and newsletters feature makes it a convenient, all-in-one solution to grow your audience. But if you want to build anything else, a corporate site, an e-commerce store, an online course, an interactive directory, WordPress is the better choice. WordPress is the most popular CMS because the extensive plugin marketplace allows you to mold it into anything you want. WordPress is also a solid option for blogging, but if you aren't tech savvy and want a lighter, less bloated platform, I'd stick with Ghost. However, a huge draw to WordPress is that it's easier to self-host. There are hundreds, if not thousands of WordPress hosts to choose from, and you can host your site for just a few dollars per month and access the full version of WordPress. But if you just want a free, basic blog, you can use the free plan on WordPress.com. It's more difficult to self-host Ghost since it runs on Node.js, and while you can easily deploy a DigitalOcean droplet with Ghost pre-installed, this requires more technical knowledge to maintain the server over time. So for that reason, unless you're comfortable with server administration, I would stick with Ghost's official hosting. And it is a bit spendy if you want to unlock the full version of Ghost. For the right use case, Ghost is impressive. It's easy to use, it's modern, and it's a refreshing departure from the convoluted, chaotic WordPress admin dashboard. But for now, I'll be sticking to WordPress. My websites rely on the vast plugin ecosystem and strong customization options, and honestly, I think I enjoy tinkering too much to be happy inside of Ghost's sandbox. Now, if you want a no-code website builder that's a bit more powerful than Ghost without the extra complications of WordPress, you may want to check out Webflow, Framer, or Wix Studio. I compared each of these platforms and more in this video.